Hello there, it is Rochelle Zealy here, sending through some really good vibes on this Thursday evening in Melbourne. And it's a really hot night here tonight. We've had a 42 degrees Celsius day, and I don't think it's going to dip much below 20 tonight, so very, very warm. But apart from that, we're pretty good here. And tonight, it's interesting sort of how I source the content for my lives. And I've been quite busy over the last week or so, as I shared last night. And I do generally have a bit of an idea and a bit of structure as to what I'm going to talk about and what I'm going to share. But over the last few days, I haven't had that opportunity, and I've been at my day job today, and then we've had a few other things on. And I was just looking again through my emails because I get so many of them, and I wonder if you can relate, if you get a lot of emails as well. And look, a number of them I don't actually open, but I'm really glad that I opened the one from yesterday, so I was able to share information about that. Good evening, Duncan. And then the one that I've opened tonight, it's on a completely different wavelength, but it talks about happiness and actually what makes you happy. So I'd love to know what makes you happy and sort of what makes you get out of bed in the morning, or why you do what you do as well. And I thought it was really interesting because it connects quite nicely with the book that I'm listening to at the moment, which is How to Be a Badass at Making Money. I think that's what it's called, by Jen Sincero. And she's got some really great mantras throughout the book that I actually incorporate into my affirmations as well. And I actually wanted to share a few of them with you because I find language is a really interesting thing, and the way we use language can either lift us up or really bring us down. And I think Jen Sincero is really good at doing that and sort of explaining the different frequencies. And she talks a lot about gratitude and also the law of attraction, which is where the connection with this email that I received comes in too. But some of the things that she says are, I love money because it helps me take care of my family. And it's just fabulous. Like, why don't you love money? There's such a stigma attached to enjoying and liking and wanting money in our society that if you do find that that's where one of your blocks are, how to be a badass, listen 101 FM Melbourne. How to be a badass at making money. It's a good way to uplift you and sort of change that mentality and mindset too. It might take a few goes at listening. It might take a little bit of doing her mantras and also doing her activities. So she has a couple of activities to write down at the end of each chapter. I need to actually sit down and do those because I'm listening on the go through Audible. It's important to then just take the time at the end of the day, sit back, reflect on what I've listened to, and then write that information down as well. But this email that I received today that speaks about happiness and how to sort of flip that switch. You've never been money driven? Yeah. And look, a lot of people aren't, but when you really sit down and think about it, every single thing that we do is as a result of money. And it's really interesting because Jen talks about money as energy, and energy needs to flow, and I'm probably not explaining that very well either. Yes, but then in this email she's got a quote, and it's not Jen Sincero, it's from someone else. And it's a quote by Dale Carnegie. So it'd be interesting to hear if you've actually heard it before and how it resonates, or if you can relate to it at all. So it just says, it isn't what you have or who you are or where you are or what you are doing that makes you happy or unhappy. It is what you think about. So I think that's really important. And look, a lot of the work that I'm doing at the moment, I'm certainly becoming much more in tune with my thoughts and with my feelings. And it's interesting how when your thoughts are positive, you are uplifted and upbeat. And we were in the car the other day, my 6-year-old and she was getting really angry because we kept on getting these red traffic lights. And I just said to her, you just need to take a deep breath and just say, thank you, traffic lights, for all being green. And it was hilarious. It completely changed her mood. But pretty much every traffic light we then came to was green. So the universe was working in our favour. So I guess I'd love you to finish this sentence for me. Happiness is... So please write down your comment or what happiness actually means to you in the comments. And look, if you're not watching live, please do come back and type it in, because I'll come back and have a look and would love to have a conversation with you as well. So people can finish that sentence in so many different ways. Happiness just means so many different things to different people. I think it depends on what stage you are in your life. It depends on what you have or what you don't have, and if you're coming from a place of lack or a place of want, or if you come from a place of abundance as well. And abundance doesn't mean that you've got absolutely everything that you so desire, and it doesn't mean that your bank account is overflowing or anything like that. Abundance can mean so many different things to different people as well. So happiness could be financial security, freedom from debt and poverty, or the ability to then be able to provide for your family and be able to take holidays and travel and just have experiences as well. But for others, it might be having a nice relationship with some incredible people, or be able to play sport, to be healthy, to find spiritual peace, to gain insight into the meaning of life, and all of those sorts of things as well. So happiness certainly looks different to different people, and our priorities and perspectives are never ever going to be the same. So it's natural that the things that we want most in life are then different as well. So our thoughts certainly have a very big impact on the way that we actually perceive the world, and what we think about most then tends to influence the majority of our perceptions in life too. So I guess think about the jobs that you've had for an extended period of time. Have they changed the way that you look at your surrounding environment and what you're doing? Did you start to see more things that were relevant to that job, no matter where you went? So because you're thinking on that same wavelength, that's when those things, they were probably already there previously, but that's when you start to see them and notice them as well. So I guess there's this lady in the email, she's offered 4 different ways that you can actually use that principle to your advantage, so really helping to get into that happy space in your mind. You can actually train your mind to know what makes you happy. So pretend that that's what your full-time job is, and your duty is then to find things that fulfill you and also help to create that sense of purpose as well. So think about them consciously and remember what is in each situation that makes you happy. And it can be really important, or can be really helpful, to actually write those things down as well, and just create a little story. And Jen Sincero was talking today about sort of writing down 5 different lines, and it talks about all of those things that you're wanting to be and those things that make you happy. And as you constantly read that, it starts to uplift you, and you get to that point where you're believing that that's your reality. So number 2 is to meditate. So go over those ideas in your head, and it'll just then become second nature for you to notice them in everything that you start to do as well. And one of the things that Jen speaks about is, before you start to go into your meditation, it might only be 5 minutes a day, but actually ask yourself that question. So if you feel like you've got money blocks, what is my money block, or where is that block coming from? And sit down and then have a piece of paper and write down anything that comes to you during that meditation as well. So number 3 is to become actively aware of social influences. So there's so many people out there that will actually try to sell you on one idea or another about what happiness actually means. And it will often happen in quite subtle ways that can then prevent you from finding it for yourself, because their influence will actually help to sort of sway you one way or another. So you really need to be able to sit down, ground yourself, and work out exactly what it is that makes you happy and helps you to move towards happiness. She also says too, to be really aware of this as you interact with people, and make sure you stay focused on actually finding the things that make you happy, as opposed to what makes other people happy. And number 4 is to rid yourself of anxiety. And it's literally impossible to keep an open mind and actually build the right kind of habits that you want when you're constantly worrying about the future or what could go wrong as well. So I would love to know if you have any tips or ways that you try to use the law of attraction, if you currently do, or if you've been reading about it, or if you've never ever heard of it before, what your take on the law of attraction is. But yeah, we'd love to know what helps you to keep your happiness and keep your flow going and ensure that you're heading on the right track to your success. So and look, I guess if happiness isn't part of your success, let me know too. Would love to hear from you. So I think that will be all for tonight. I will talk to you again tomorrow. Bye.